here we go. It's going to be a quite an informative, thorough one. Look at that going. Look at that beautiful slide. Look at that beautiful. Yeah. So welcome, folks, to the best through the world from my end of the cyberspace to yours. Pleasure having you riding in the cyber saddle with me throughout the cyberspace. So. I do have notations here of a video essay for the video essay that I've curated. So let's begin. It is notations of text, so that's what I will be reading off because it's not just off the dome, off the rip. Unfortunately, this time I just have to put this together and get it out there into the cyberspace. To the cyber meet, to the modern apes. Let's do it. So yes, the end of physical gaming: foresight, ownership, memory, and the long game. Okay, so allow me and humor me for a moment as I share my foresight on what I believe the gaming industry holds following Sony's latest decision to move away from physical disc media. To me, this massively correlates with the broader direction in the industry appears to be heading in, including major releases like Rockstar's GTA 6 and the increasing shift toward digital-first or digital-only ecosystems. Whether intentional or not, these decisions feel like part of the same movement toward a future where games are experienced less as physical objects and more as access-based digital services. Look at that fucking... That was one of the most stunning pieces of vintage Sony artwork right there. I love that pool. That one is so clinical and dark, dystopian future. It's just brutal. It's beautiful. Anyway, back to the point. I just love so much the art direction, and again, all this came with physical embrace of expression. Look at that. That is so fucking cool. Anyway, every major advantage of this transition seems to benefit companies and corporations, while nearly every compromise falls upon the consumer. Again, that is nothing new. It saddens me deeply that physical media and tangible ownership are slowly disappearing from the hands of ordinary people. Okay, I can't even imagine having that conversation with my younger self. This is like, I wish I'd do anything to have these pictures now today. The kid who would admire and even take photographs of physical video games like Pokemon Emerald on the Game Boy because the cartridge, the artwork, and the box felt magical. It really did. It was like a teal. It had Rayquaza on the front. It was, oh my god, just, yeah. Anyway, they had character, they had soul, they were objects you could hold, display, collect, lend to a friend, rediscover years later, and cherish forever. Yeah, for a long time now, this future has seemed inevitable, as we all are quite aware, but inevitably does not make it any less heartbreaking. I think about the children growing up today who may never experience opening a brand new game, Trev. Peeling away the plastic wrapping, reading the artwork, placing the case proudly on a shelf, and watching that collection grow alongside them. Those games eventually become more than software. They become physical memorabilia, tangible reminders of different chapters of your life. And I still hold on to that. I still hold on to that today. Many of my nostalgic childhood items today, the ones I could retrieve and hold on to, and I would do probably a lot of limitless. Well, I won't say that, but I would do a lot of radical shit to get back the entirety of that physical memorabilia of that time that encapsulated so much of my inner childhood and play, etc. And memories. Yeah, the embodiment of all that. That time. But yes, luckily I've held on to quite a lot of it, but not enough. Looking at an old game on a shelf can instantly transport you back to your childhood bedroom, to weekends with friends, to birthdays, to Christmas mornings, to late nights discovering worlds that help shape your imagination. At the end of the day, physical media is more than plastic and paper. It is encapsulated memory. That's wild looking at. It's encapsulated memory. It represents permanence, ownership, and a personal history that belongs to you. The connotations of removing physical media extend far beyond convenience. They represent the gradual removal of sentimentality through the loss of physical existence itself. For decades, physical media encouraged togetherness. That it did. Some of my most heartwarming memories are of my father and I driving together to midnight game releases. Sometimes he was even more excited than I was. He was just genuinely so chuffed for me and the whole experience, really. We would talk about the game on the way there, arriving to find crowds already forming outside the store. There was an atmosphere that cannot be replicated by a downloaded button or digital countdown. Strangers stood together, family stood together, friends, everyone, the fucking auntie was there, you know. Everyone shared the same anticipation. Looking back, those nights filled me with overwhelming sentimentality. They wore my entire sense of memory. The game itself was only part of it. The journey, the people, the conversations, and the shared excitement all became inseparable from the experience. I love that. That was just such a captured picture. That was so just the layers of it. Wow, amazing. It's so just cool. Anyway, where was I? Become separate from experience. Yeah, there was an unmistakable sense of sheer magic surrounding physical game releases. They were not transactions; they were events, and that is what I fear we're losing. To be honest, midnight launches become midnight downloads now. Queues become loading bars. Shared anticipation becomes isolated countdown timers. The excitement may still exist, but increasingly it is experienced alone rather than together. This is about far more than purchasing a game. It's about how you experience culture together. I'm also a firm believer that physical incentives push creative expression to its absolute soul and highest limits. There is something profoundly meaningful about creating something that ultimately exists in the physical form. I often think about how countless developers, artists, designers, composers, and writers, many of whom have dedicated years or even decades of their lives to this craft, and I wonder how many feel that something essential is being lost. I know I fucking sure do, as an enjoyer of this entertainment form, this digital gaming media form, and consumer of it. So yeah, for them, it must be, such gravity to it. I mean, a lot of people, that is not all, but imagine spending 5, 6, or even 7 to 10 years creating a game that people will cherish. Yeah, for example, the time it's taken Rockstar to make GTA 6 now, and lo and behold, nothing physical to show for it as of yet. There's a unique fulfillment in seeing that work exists physically in the world. A box on a shelf, a disc in a case, a collector's edition sitting proudly on display. Something that says, we made this, it's there. There is a permanence in physical creation that digital distribution cannot replicate. Part of this responsibility also lies with us as consumers, as modern apes. For too long, we exchanged ownership for convenience. We embraced instant downloads, digital storefronts, and subscriptions, and cloud libraries because they were easier. Convenience became the priority, often without fully considering what we were surrendering. Perhaps virtuality and digital convenience quietly extinguished the star of physical media and the sentimentality that came with it. Yeah, I mean, it's quite telling that by now we all know what it did. Sometimes I think back to my 10-year-old self. If someone had told me then that video games would one day not exist physically, that they would become invisible purchases tied to an account, it would have felt confusing, even unsettling. My intuition would have recognized that something important was being lost, even if I could not articulate it at the time. It is a strange... it's a strange realization that the feeling never left me at all. In pursuing convenience, we are gradually removing physicality from something that has always been rooted in joy, imagination, and human connection. Vice versa, really, with that. It's also about removing fun from physicality. Games once lived on our shelves just as much as they live in our memories. Lived in our memories. They existed both in our hands and just so internally. Perhaps the greatest loss is not ownership alone, but the ritual. The experience is built around it. History shows us what tends to happen to physical media over time. Vinyl records, cassette tapes, film cameras, typewriters. The list goes on. These were once not nostalgic objects, they were but simply the standard way people experienced culture. Yet time, combined with hyper-consumerist culture, has reshaped them. They were discarded, then rediscovered, and finally repackaged as premium nostalgic projects. What was once ordinary became collectible. What was once accessible became luxury. What was what was once necessity became aesthetic. That is a cycle, unfortunately, which is telling us, which you can see everywhere today. We see something similar in fashion and styles across eras. Don't even get me started. Trends are often only stylized in hindsight. Looking at 2026 and the rise of maximalist, fragmented, and identity heavy aesthetics, there's a strong desire to recreate or embody past eras as curated styles. But what emerged in those earlier times was never designed as a style at all. It was simply the natural product of the moment in culture, economy, and society. The sense of belonging that defined those eras was born from living within them, not reconstructing them later on. I understand why people resonate with aesthetics and eras they feel emotionally drawn to, but it raises a question. How can you truly recreate and embody a style now without having organically been a part of the time that produced it in the first place? It becomes interpretation rather than origin, reflection rather than lived reality, and perhaps that is what nostalgia increasingly is, a reconstruction of something we can admire but never fully inhabit again. I believe gaming is heading toward the same trajectory. Physical games are being phased out under the banners of convenience, efficiency, and digital progress. But once physical ownership has largely disappeared, this is what I believe, it will likely return not as the standard, but as a curated luxury. Think about it. Limited collector's editions, premium bundles, numbered releases, anniversary reprints, special nostalgic editions sold at a premium. The object itself becomes the product again, not because it is necessary, but because scarcity makes it desirable. And that is the irony. The very thing removed becomes the thing sold back to us. Tomorrow's corporations may not just sell games, they will sell nostalgia. Let's be honest, they already do, and they outsell hotcakes any day, all the time. There's nothing selling like nostalgia. I mean, corporations already do sell that. And nostalgia is perhaps the most powerful product of all because it reaches into memory, identity, and childhood self. I believe many corporations are playing the long game. Convenience today becomes dependence tomorrow. Scarcity creates desire. Desire creates profit. Physical gaming will come full circle. I have little doubt about that. But when it returns, it may longer exist as a standard of ownership. It may exist as a premium experience, a luxury version of what was once normal. That is why preserving physical media matters. Not because discs, cartridges, and cases are just objects, but because they are pieces of our history. They are memories made tangible. They are proof that art once existed outside of subscriptions, licenses, and digital storefronts. The future of gaming will also likely reshape hardware itself. That's quite obvious, I know. Future console generations may longer include disc drives at all, as we are already beginning to see with the increasingly digital-first hardware designs. As systems evolve, they will be engineered without consideration for reading physical media at all. The PS5 has done that already. The long-term trajectory, if followed through, is not just making discs less common, but rendering them functionally obsolete and incompatible with future systems altogether. We have seen similar patterns in other industries, such as automotive design, where new internal infrastructures and technologies eventually make older systems impractical or unsupported. You try fucking ripping the aux back in a fucking 1960s Ford muscle, what I mean? Or Dodge muscle. Yeah, it's not compatible. Of course, people will always find ways around these limitations in some form. Where are we? Yeah. Of course, people will always find ways around these limitations in some form, whether collectively or individually, intentionally or otherwise. The future belongs to those who remember what ownership once meant. If physical media disappears completely, we may find that we may one day find ourselves paying to reclaim something that was once ordinary. Perhaps future generations will look at physical games the way we look at vinyl records, not as everyday media, but as romantic relics from another time. If that day comes, I hope they understand one thing. They were never meant to be relics. They were just simply ours. Video killed the radio star? Nope. Virtual convenience and content kill the organic experience. Read that again. Video killed the radio star. Virtual convenience and content killed the organic experience. And that's going to be my rambling done, folks. That's a short video essay done that I thought I'd just put out there for, more so myself more than anything else. Yeah. It's been the best stream in the world. I just had to get it out there. I made so many notations and refined it, etc., etc. And that's just it. So, eat that. And until next time, folks, it's been the best stream in the world. A pleasure throughout the tens of thousands of you in the viewer base, as per usual. Yeah, if you like, resonate with any of the points, if you get to see it, if you see any at all, giving a like, a subscribe especially would help in the age of algorithmic domination in the cyberspace. But yes, until next time, goodbye and see you in cyberspace. Thank you, Cybermeat Modern Apes.